All right, for more on this, we're being joined by Professor James A. Russell, live from Ontario, California. He's an associate professor in Department of National Security Affairs at NPS, where he's teaching courses on U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, military innovation, and national security strategy. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Professor, let me start by asking you, everyone was anticipating how will Israel retaliate to the October 1st attack by Iran. It seemed as if Israel was delaying it. Now, with THAAD being approved by U.S. and they're being deployed there, do you think Israel was waiting for that green light from them and that they could not have probably done that without U.S. support of defense?
Well, I think the American anti-missile support for Israel, which has been going on for months now, of course, has been instrumental in Israel's plans to strike targets in Iran and elsewhere. And I think the THAAD system is just another extension of this. We've been with our allies. It's not just the United States. The British have been helpful. Others have been helpful. And so this is simply a continuation of what's been going on for the last 7 months, in which the United States has become increasingly enmeshed in Israel's desire for a wider war with the Iranians. And I think the deployment of the Theater High Altitude Air Defense System to Israel by the Biden administration is a very dangerous move on the part of Biden. It opens the prospect, of course, that it places American troops directly in harm's way. And it opens up the prospect, again, of the United States participating even more directly in this escalatory exchange between the two adversaries.
Professor, Israel is saying that they've not asked for American boots on Israeli territory or Israeli soil, but America has still sent them. I wanted to ask you, what are America's stakes in Israel? Because Ukraine has been getting bombed for nearly 3 years now, but we've not seen American boots on Ukrainian soil. But here, even when Israel hasn't called them, they're there. What are U.S. stakes there?
It's the $64,000 question, of course, that many of us in the United States are wondering about. But it's been clear since the crisis began that as far as the Biden administration is concerned, that the United States and Israel are joined at the hip. Whatever Israel wants, Israel gets. Israel, for its part, has been ignoring all American suggestions for any kind of restraint over the last year. I was amused to hear your reporting on this letter that's come from Secretary Blinken and the Secretary of Defense Austin Long. I mean, people have been starving on the Gaza Strip now for the last 10 months, and these two administration officials are now writing the Israelis a letter about it. I mean, it's hard to know whether to laugh or cry at the ridiculousness of the situation and the treatment of the United States by the Israelis. And yet the Biden administration just sort of marches along, turns the other cheek, and keeps writing the checks and keeps sending weapons. It's a mystery to me, to a lot of us in the national security community.
Absolutely. I was actually going to come to that because you pointed it out. Whatever Israel says, now U.S., whenever they want to tell them that don't go into Gaza, don't kill civilians, they do it. And you want to go for don't invade Lebanon, they go and do that. And they've also told Israel not to attack Iran's oil and nuclear facilities. Now, with THAAD placing in, do you think Israel has the possibility that they will be going there to attack oil facilities or nuclear bases there?
Well, the one thing the observation I would make about Israeli actions over the last, 10, 12 months is that they're unpredictable and they're unrestrained. And frankly, I wouldn't believe a word that comes out of any Israeli government official's mouth about what they will or won't strike. I think it's very unpredictable. I certainly hope that whatever reportedly private, sort of communications have gone between Netanyahu and the Biden administration about striking these potential sites in Iran, I hope it's true. But if history is any guide, I wouldn't hold any stock in anything that the Israelis have said. And the one thing I would say about this also is that this is a war that Israel has sought. And that Benjamin Netanyahu has sought for years now. And now they've got it. And guess what? The enemy is raining missiles down on them too, and it could get a lot worse. for them. I mean, it's the truism of the adage as be careful what you wish for. The Israelis want the wider war. It looks like they're going to get it. I just hope from the American perspective that the Biden administration can somehow keep us out of this fight, which is already a disaster. There are 1 million people that are displaced in Lebanon. The Israelis are now slaughtering people in southern Lebanon just the way they've done in southern Gaza. It's just what an appalling situation.
And it only seems to be getting worse. There seems to be no ray of light coming in, and ceasefire talks are not even on the table at this point, and not even in reports anywhere. One can only hope at this point. Thank you so much for joining in, Professor Russell. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me.